Hello, we're back. It's New Meta Podcast, episode 145. Here to talk about the major position 1s, position 5s, another stat corner that follows on fittingly from last week's, and much more. Marco, how are you doing? Welcome to the pod.
Thank you. Doing good.
Excellent. You finally caught up with the major after we had to be very careful with spoilers in the chat for a little while.
Yeah, I was fucking worried by Adam's smiley face messages haunting me when I would see notifications on my phone. Oh, I didn't know if it was good or bad. So yeah, I was behind for like
a week?
3-4 days. It was, really intense. I was like, I can't even load Discord because I was worried. Or say EG wins and someone asks me like, "Woo, you're happy?" or something. Like, I just went incognito. So
all I could do was text smiley faces in the like that shows up in the chat window in the preview, and it doesn't give anything away per se.
Yeah, mind games, man.
Yeah, Adam, likewise. Welcome to the pods. You got radio DotA for the grand final, or at least for some of it. I remember talking to you while you were driving, and you were just audio only. How's that?
Yeah, thank Twitch for audio only.
That's
so
cool.
I don't just run up data on something I can't even watch. Yeah. I mean, I've done that before. It's good. What was it? Capitalist and Kyle in the final. It wasn't bad. It was a good radio voice. I mean, it was pretty obvious who was winning though.
Yeah.
I always got to shout out the DotA sound design. You can tell all the spells that are happening and who's in the game.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually. Might have to give that a go myself at some point, just out of interest. The sound is incredible.
Yeah, but then it's just like, man, position 1 axe feels bad.
You just you're hearing the the culling blade sounds, chop, the chop, yeah.
They're just like, oh my god, he's got 8,000 net worth at 13 minutes. You're like, okay.
GG, I guess.
I actually got my jab today. Got my first COVID jab. Been filled up with microchips and 5G. And,
magnets.
Yeah, I've been filled up with everything. So I had my last breaths as a free human before I'm uploaded onto the global elite hard drive system. I'm now a slave. So yeah, had that, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. I actually got it from Surplus as well. I got a call and they're like, if you can get here in 15 minutes,
wow,
you can have a jab. Because I know someone that's doing jabs. And they called me and were like, there's excess. There's this many excess, and so we don't want to throw them away. So if you can get here by a certain time,
how many excess?
I have no idea. I just know that there was one.
What did they say? Is it 10 left over or 1,000 left over?
Oh no, it's not 1,000. It's a case of, does anyone here have friends? Maybe one batch, so maybe 10, 20, something like that. Maybe.
Yeah,
because I think they come in batches of 10.
Yeah, they come in batches of 10. It depends on the vial, I guess. I have a friend who's a nurse practitioner, and she was giving jabs. And something with their scheduling system, it would only go in multiples of 3 or something. And so, in a vial you get, it's 9, and then it went over right before they're about to close. She had to open up a new vial, and then she was running around the store because it's a clinic in a grocery store. So she's running around the grocery store. Hey, does anybody need a COVID shot?
No way.
Just the people doing their grocery shopping, because you don't want to waste 9 shots out of a vial.
That's similar situation here. I think it's just that everything's so scheduled, and they have the exact number, because it's all, you book in advance. They have the exact numbers of vials they need, so they just have, at the end of the day, they can't like add the leftover to the next day because they've already got the next day sorted, so they just have leftovers. So that was pretty cool, and it's ironic because I just scheduled my actual one earlier today, so that's all useless now. I need to cancel that, but anyway. So yeah, that's cool. I'm hoping my cyborgness will help me at Dota 2, but we'll see. Games then. Dota 2. I was so greedy, actually. I was about to continue the trend of going first, but let's not. Let's go back to normal. Marco, how have your games been?
I have nothing to report, sadly.
Kid.
The listeners will be devastated, I'm sure. Smiley face.
Wouldn't even go into the client. Would not even go into the client.
I was actually scared to go in the client in case it was like, major winners, evil geniuses. Such.
Yeah.
So, actually no games to report, so no bursting positivity to recount.
It's funny, you went on holiday, like, right when the bracket started. Like, the playoffs. Yeah. Right when playoffs started. So it's like, EG starts this run. You don't even know if they beat No Ping.
Yeah.
And I'm just, like, doing all these smiley faces. And then eventually you're like, don't spoil. I'm like, you don't even know if I'm smiley facing for Nigma losing or Quincy Crew moving up. You know, it's like, it could be anything I'm smiling for.
They were actually such good series. I mean, yeah, I didn't play any, but I watched. I didn't watch anything but the EG series on the Dota 2 VOD, spoiler free, and they were, honestly, the run from lower bracket round 1 up to grand final, excluding the grand final, that's like 1, 2, 3, 5 best of 3s. All of them 3-game series apart from Nigma. Honestly, the Dota on show was really, really good. And obviously the ones where EG stomp, like, I think it was at T1 or TNC maybe, where they win like 30 kills to nothing. Even that, obviously being an EG fan, you'd love to see. 36 kills to 3. That was bonkers.
That was a fun one.
Who was that against?
Oh, I was at home for that one, I think. Was I not? Because weren't we talking about it on WhatsApp? Against TNC?
I don't know.
But I remember they won really hard, and then they lost.
And then they lost game 2.
And then it goes to game 3. There was a lot of game 3s.
Yeah.
A lot of game 3s in the whole playoffs. Even LGD that had their crazy run. They were 2-1 against T1 and Nigma. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the EG 2-0's Nigma. And that was like a triple smiley face.
A triple smiley.
It was like, not only did EG win, they also knocked out Nigma. And it worked exactly how I was hoping, was that Nigma could win 1 best of 3, but they needed to lose 2 to not auto-qualify for TI, so we could put them in the EU qualifier to have another chance of knocking out OG.
Yeah, that's like an Adam dream. I was so sad about that. It's unfortunate for Nigma losing to LGD and EG, like the top 2 teams.
Yeah.
That's like very rough for them. And also the fact that they just needed to finish 1 placing higher to qualify for TI, so that was unfortunate. Man, it's kind of crazy that in this year's TI, one of the grand finalists won't be there. Only, or if any, there might be neither. So that's kind of rough. I know it's quite common, or it has been common before OG went back to back for the some teams to win and then do very poorly the next year, like Wings and stuff. But I mean, yeah, it's kind of crazy. Sad that if Kuro doesn't make it, that'll be pretty sad.
It'll just be Puppy left, right?
It'll just be Puppy, yeah.
Yeah, it's that's going to be a bloodbath. And then, OG is like trying to get, they get Sumail. They're going to try and catch lightning in a bottle, and I'm very afraid. Although they lost in that tournament that's going on. Yeah,
they lost to VP, I think. But they beat Liquid 2-0, but Liquid
but then they have to play
with
Nigma, right?
After that? Yeah.
So who do you want to get through, Adam? Out of EU?
Out of that group, if you just do the 3 that are most likely and not just some meme of like bald, probably Liquid, I don't know how much you consider like Tundra. That'd be really cool if Tundra could do it, but that's like very underdoggy, like very unlikely to get through all three of those teams.
It is going to be an absolute bloodbath. Like Nigma, Liquid, Tundra, OG, and Viking. People are sleeping on Viking, but I mean, they 2-0'd Nigma. They just 2-0'd Nigma at ESL. So I think they've been sleeping in Division 2, but they're a good team. And Nigma are the favourites, but honestly, any of those 5 I feel like could do it.
And so then
I don't think OG are going to do it.
Looking at the bracket real fast, I think Nigma and OG are going to face each other. They're on the same side of the bracket. So if they both win, they face each other. And then if they like both lose, they're still going to face each other in the lower bracket, like way before the final. Like someone's going to go home real early. It seems like it's pretty scary.
Yeah. OG have got a tough run because they've got to play Viking GG first, then they've got to play Nigma, then they've got to play Liquid or Tundra, and then it's the grand final. So they're just playing tier 1 teams the whole way if it's the upper bracket.
Yeah.
Anyway, that'll be fun when we get there, but we don't need to dwell too much on that.
Nigma's the favourite though, for sure.
Yeah, I think so. Adam, games or thoughts on I guess either thoughts on the major games, Dota in the last week overall?
Did you see Liquid BSJ? That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
He's moving to the Netherlands to do content. Thoughts on the major? I was sad. My boy Arteezy.
EG is so top tier now that second place...
It's not even the third place meme, it's the second place meme now.
Yeah.
Like... They said, I don't know if they were including this, like when they were in the grand final, if they were including that one in the stat, but it was like they've played 27 majors or like top tier tournaments. They've top 4'd 14 times and they've never won.
That's so insane. That's absolutely crazy.
So it's either 28 and 15 or like 27 and 14, I guess. Yeah, so it's like, come on, Arteezy. I just want you to break the curse. So hard. Get him. I mean, it blows my mind that he's not a major winner for how talented he is. Did I think that they were going to go on a run like that? No. Especially when they ended up in the lower bracket, because it's so difficult. And then it's just like, oh, they won. Oh, they won. Oh, they won. And it just like keeps going. And like, Team of Destiny. But no Team of Destiny. It's even more crushing to lose like that. But for my games, I just became what I hate. I just picked Winter Wyvern 6 times in a row. Ranked and unranked. It's just like, I'll just pick Wyvern and test it out. It's pretty good. Very good. I did both builds. I did if it's a good heal game, go the heal strat. If it's like a bad heal game, just go the Aetherland's Blink. And the heroes got good spells. You can just casually... Let's see, I had 18,000 heal in a game. I probably had more. I think there's another game where I had even more than that. It was like, maybe it was the first time I played it, where I out-healed. It's crazy where you're like out-healing. Yeah. I had 18,000 healing in a 30-minute game, and I had more healing than 4 heroes on the other team had damage. Only a Quap had more damage on the other team than I had healing. And it's just like...
crazy.
Just dumb. It feels really, really dumb. But, take advantage of it before it gets patched, I guess.
Mm. Yeah, I think so.
It's kind of the perfect hero other than AA. Like,
We're Wyvern fans, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got huge scaling in the late game. It's like, and not just one thing. It's like everything. It's percentage-based heal. The Q is percentage-based damage. The W has a stun at level 25, and it's great wave clear. And then the ult, like, gets better the stronger the enemy heroes are. So, you're like ultimate late game support.
All I've got to say is who says Pos 1 Axe 4 months ago, and who's been on the Winter Wyvern bandwagon for a good few years?
Marco DotA.
Setting trends.
What about the Holy Locket? Were we on the Holy Locket?
How many times have I bought Holy Locket? 0.
Yeah. In terms of my games, haven't really got a whole lot to report. Haven't played a whole lot. Did play a fun Doom yesterday night, where a guy randomed Doom when I was about to pick Doom, and someone on my team randomed, and we got the swap off, so I got to start with a Fairy Fire and Mango, even though I didn't random. That was good. And then beyond that, just tried and tested Pos 3 player now. Last 5 games, Sand King, Timber, Doom, Legion, Mars, just playing 3, just have a good time. Not a whole lot else to say. Can't decide whether to keep pressing ahead with Broodmother or not, because I'd kind of left Brood behind, but then at the major, Brood just seems really oppressive again. So now I'm like, maybe maybe just keep playing Brood. So
I remember that.
It is a first ban
your Sand King game, Stan.
The Sand King game.
Where I was, Wyvern, and you were Sand King, and we combined for 13 and 10 between the two of us, and we won because we had a last pick level 30 Brood spammer, and he went 14-0-0, no assists, just 14 kills.
Yeah, me and Adam combined for 13 and 10, and it's like the easiest game we've ever played. It's amazing. That game was so dumb, but easy wins. Wins are win. That's all that we remember now. In terms of the major, really enjoyed it. Obviously, I'm not coming in from the EG fanboy perspective, so more holistic enjoyment of the tournament across the board.
Production value very high.
Yeah, production value was good. It was cool watching LGD play. That was very fun. They felt like the only team in the tournament that had some magic, and obviously, to me, obviously EG's run is like, you could use the magic, like, cliche, like, against the odds sort of thing, surprising you. But just in terms of, like, the actual games themselves, I felt like LGD were the only team that I couldn't believe what I was watching, and in the sense that, particularly that game 2 of the grand finals, it felt like LGD had no right to win that game based on what was happening, based on the game state, and EG was so far ahead quite significantly.
Yeah. Game 2 was the backbreaker.
Yeah,
because EG had like draft lead and actual lead, and then it just like disappeared.
And it felt like you just didn't see that in the rest of the tournament. You didn't see big comebacks. We talked about this last week. And that felt like the biggest comeback of the tournament that I remember seeing in the playoffs. So I haven't seen every game, obviously, but a lot of the other games seem to kind of be going to script. And LGD seemed to be the only team that just had that magic to turn it around. So that was cool to see.
Yeah, they were just ahead, like, just outclassed everyone. I think I even said it when Marco was hiding, and I said, I guess this must have been the Enigma series. I didn't spoil it, but I pretty much spoiled it. I think that was before you asked for no spoilers, but it said they picked 14 heroes in the best of 3. It was like gulp. Like, Enigma, I think, picked 12, which doesn't sound like that much less, but it really is, especially when they picked Dragon Knight 3 times and stuff like that. And I think they even admitted that they got figured out. Like their draft got figured out, their strat, and then when they lost to LGD, and then EG just kind of like followed what LGD did, and then beat Enigma and knocked them out.
EG feel like the most solid team like in Dota right now. If you're betting on a team that's gonna do well at a major, you're gonna bet on EG. It's just like they do everything right, and it's just they're so solid.
EG beat game 1 against Nigma that you mentioned, 32-6. EG versus Nigma, and we'd been saying in last week's pod how amazing Nigma had been doing, and then they had been doing so incredibly well, smashing the tournament from the wildcard up until until LGD, and then they dropped down to EG, and even EG make Nigma look like shit, and then LGD make EG look like shit. That's pretty scary.
Yeah. And I think LG will go into TI as the favourites, I would imagine, now after that.
I think so too, unless they get COVID, which is what a big, like, on Reddit they had, I guess, Xiao8 streamed and people were translating, and that's a big concern they have. Like, they're not going anywhere because they don't want to get COVID and not be able to go to TI.
They're staying in Europe, aren't they? All the Chinese teams.
Yeah, they can't. So cool. They're in. I guess they might still be in Kiev because they can't get to Sweden right now. Like, they need help from Valve, and then they can't go back to China because of restricted flights. So they're just kind of stuck.
Some sort of weird movement, like they need to get a work visa for a country that's next to Ukraine, and then they can travel from there to Sweden or something weird like that. So, yeah. What
is funny is that Nothing to Say is, was he 12.5K MMR? And Xiao8 is 9,700, and he can't queue with them.
Yeah,
there's too far of a gap. The only person on the team that can queue with him is Ame.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Absurd. Imagine not being able to play because your 9.7k MMR teammate coach is too low MMR. That's bonkers.
I wonder if that's going to have some interesting impact, because in previous TIs you would always have regionals segregation until a week or two before TI, and then maybe you can have cross-regional scrims. Now you've actually got 2 months, just under 2 months of possibility. It's going to be interesting. You got a lot more choice for the teams.
Yeah, it is interesting as well because all of the Chinese teams, that being Vici, LGD, Asta, and IG, they're the ones going to TI. Apart from the Chinese qualifier team, they're all in Europe. And they're going to be staying there. So it almost feels like if one region spikes some like sick meta, and I'm thinking, the previous major when Thunder Predator, some random tier 2 SA team, just come in and suddenly have everyone's number. That's probably not going to be China, if at all, if it does happen this time.
Another question is, when will this patch drop? Which I'm sure we've meant to have got Spec Arcana 6 months ago, and then the new hero 3 months ago, and then a new patch many months ago. So there's going to be some big patch that drops after ESL 1 summer, maybe end of June.
I don't think it'll be too big. It's not going to be major.
I think they're going to do that. They're going to do the Spec Arcana event sometime this summer.
So maybe just non-competitive changes.
Well, I think they'll definitely.
They're going to have to do some sort of patch, and they're not going to have the same meta.
A letter patch at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd hope for a bit more, because I don't think we should want to see the same meta at TI. Yeah. We'd want it to change a little bit, get a bit more variety, no broods, AAs,
yeah, definitely,
etc.
Well, I don't mind broods and AAs. I just want it to be. I want it to be a balanced. I want to see some other stuff as well. No techies.
No fucking Pos 1X.
Speaking of, you hate on the Pos 1X? It's not good. It's like speciality.
I'm just still tilted from the ranked loss I had against it because it was broken and imbalanced. Still salty about that. Yeah, it's a good couple of months ago. Still salty. And then the fact it just looks broken when the pros play it, and Axe has got 8k net worth at 12 minutes. It's like, okay, this is kind of annoying. And then,
it's so terrifying.
Funny, just quick on the Axe. I looked on some games just now. Nigma beat Secret in a best of 3 in the ESL Summer. The third game, Nigma play ILTW Alex. Oh, so clearly scarred from LGD. But yeah, it's here.
It's scary how unstoppable some of these pro teams are when they get like a POS1 Axe strat rolling. Like LGD in the game one, the Axe network's absolutely out of control. And then after the game, Aoi's on the panel analysing it and he's saying, you don't see this net worth in your pubs, like it doesn't happen. This is like a pro team that's engineered this situation where even when there's an Axe that's like 5-0 in your pubs, at this time, he's still not going to have the net worth that Arme has, like at this time, because they've made, stacks and they've they've done nothing to get in the way of the farm, and Arme's picked up kills. It's kind of terrifying.
Funny you said it's like it'd be like a enemy AM having 13-minute treads Battle Fury Yasha.
Yeah. It's absolutely
more.
Bonkers.
I'm on Dota Buff, it says 16 minutes, Blink Vanguard Manta. So that is basically, it's like Battle Fury Manta at 16 minutes. You'd be like, I don't mind the Battle Fury at 16 minutes. Never mind a Manta on top.
Yeah, so pretty terrifying stuff. Would maybe do the stat corner later, and then for now talk about the major.
It's interesting I personally find it interesting to see what the POS1 meta turns out to be at these international tournaments. And I know we saw a few Furion games, which is quite niche, with what the hero brings, very strong laner, great pusher, global fight potential, which is a massive factor to the hero, particularly when we've seen a lot of blow up lineups, a lot of very aggressive, just ganker, almost just eradicate hero lineups, and Furion fixed that perfectly. But more predominantly, it felt like we were in this super carry meta again, where teams were picking heroes like a TB, or Spec, also Morph. Morph did drop off in favour later in the tournament, but I felt like played this same kind of role earlier in the tournament, where teams are just putting everything on a super carry to take them into the late game. And LGD, obviously the best team at the tournament, were particularly interesting to watch because the way they played their games, they always knew they had a win condition, and it's really interesting to see they weren't playing on a timer, and they didn't care, and they actually didn't care if they weren't ahead. Like against CG, they're behind, or in some games they might be behind a little bit, like a few thousand. But when these teams have this late game condition that is the TB is going to be the super carry or the Morph's going to be the super carry, it's almost like they can play with such comfort. It's like that Chinese way of playing that you make mistakes or they punish you, or you try and push high ground and they wipe you, or they're behind and they wipe you, or you can't break them down, you can't close the game, you can't win. And then they've now hit this late game where they know they're going to win by virtue of the heroes. It feels like a playstyle we've seen from the Chinese teams in the past. Like, I can remember watching crazy Nigma Miracle games against Chinese teams, where they would just hold high ground forever, or they'd do these massive wipes even though they're 10k behind because they're holding the high ground. And I don't know, just like defensively as a team are so impeccable and so impossible to break down, or they don't leak heroes, or they don't leak objectives or things like this. And then you're at a 35-minute game and go, oh, actually, this 5k lead or 10k lead is relatively way less than the 5k 10 lead we had 10-15 minutes ago. Oh, and they've got a Spec, or they've got a TB, or they've got a Morph. There's a great example against Alliance where it's like that Morph, he wave-bombed into the pit with DD, nuked Rosh, got Aegis, GG. Alliance now just don't have any draft or power or lineup to kill a late-game Void. Not Void, Morph.
Morph, yeah.
And I felt like that kept recurring, that idea of the POS1.
Yeah, definitely felt that with the TB. And it was especially underlined in some of those series in the final when it's TB versus Nature's Prophet, so where it is just like you've got all this farm on TB versus all this farm on Nature's Prophet, and I guess that's obviously you want TB in that situation, and maybe it just shows that the meta has become much more, the games are much more elongated, it's more guaranteed, or at least pro teams find it easier to get to the late stages of the game, in which case you want this TB. Because it felt like of all the mega carries that you were seeing, sorry, not even the mega carries, all the carries you were seeing, carries like Terrorblade and Spectre, which are like super carries, their stocks were rising throughout the tournament. And more aggressive carries, like say your Faceless Voids. Faceless Void's kind of a mega carry, but do you know what I mean? Like, can get involved earlier, and these heroes that don't, Ursa, say, for example, those heroes, their stocks fell. And it definitely is true what you're saying about having that insurance of the late game. It feels like such a benefit in this patch, more than other ones.
Yeah, and even Arteezy, obviously, TB is one of these iconic heroes, and there were a handful of games where he did carry them. You get to the late game, Arbed's every play was popping off, but you'd get to these games where it comes to a point that the TB was a monster, and the satanic plays that we saw with the Sunder swaps and just surviving and beating down heroes as this super carry stand and right click. Also, it feels like we've got like a ranged hero meta as well, where the Dragon Lancers and any kind of ranged hero feels so preferred. It's such an insurance policy that I don't know, it's almost like it's the easiest win condition to get to.
Yeah.
And I guess and it probably is the case that out of all the different win conditions you could go for, like let's say Death Ball lineup at 10 minutes or Death Ball lineup at 20 minutes or a super carry strategy or I don't really know what else you might have, like a tri-core strategy maybe, I don't know. Out of all these different strategies with different win conditions, it seems like teams are going, the other ones are too hard. It's too hard to win a game at 20-25 unless you've absolutely steamrolled. Against some teams you respect, you probably can't assume that you'll be able to do that. I don't know if that's like a weird thing to say, but like no team steamroll in LGD, obviously, in hindsight they are the best team, but maybe like a TNC or a no-ping, e.g. go, we can just completely school you tempo and win at 20-25 because we've destroyed you, but in the highest level of games, it doesn't feel like that's a safe strategy. A safer strategy is we can go behind 10k, but we can hold the game forever, we can get to 40 minutes and now we win. So that's interesting to see. And also, you mentioned Ursa Void. Ursa's actually got a lot of bans, 70 bans. It's like the 4th highest banned hero, and Faceless Void's got 65 bans, so the 7th highest ban. So very high ban rates on those two. I think the Ursa one, we did see it very popular earlier in the tournament, and again, it was that aggressive playstyle, the fast rushes, the fast tempo, potentially a strong laner in the right matchup.
So many Dragon Knights picked that you can't really let the Ursa through.
I think Doom's another interesting one, because people were playing Doom almost as if they had a TB, because you go for this refresher really early with Ags, or you rush out refresher with your Ags. I say rush, obviously, if you have Devour Midas, like, no matter what you do, it's rushed, but, and it's that same thing Carl was talking about, the insurance of knowing that if it goes late, you're going to have double Doom, double Shiva, double BKB, and it's like, how are they going to win a fight?
I think, it felt like I saw a lot of spec bans from EG, and again, I think that's unsurprising, because it feels like a hero that they've always struggled against, or they definitely did last tournament as well. But it just screams this classic Chinese defensive, let's go late hero. You can't break our high ground because we're so good at holding. We're not going to leak deaths. We are going to take the game to 40. And now we've got a spec, and you just don't want to be in that position. So a lot of spec bans, it felt, started to come out later in the tournament.
It's remarkable to me the regularity that games are finishing between 35 and 40 minutes, like every game. It's part of this second Roche thing as well. It's like, because of second Roche being so powerful, giving Cheese, Aegis, and Shard, it almost defines the kind of heroes and the kind of strategies you want to go for you. It's like you want to pick heroes that synergize with that kind of timing and that can contest Roche at that time and win. Because if you go for heroes that can do it before, for all the reasons we've just been talking about, defensive stuff, all they have to do is hold and be strong at that time in the game to contest second Roche, and they have a chance to win. You mentioned the Alliance LGD is like the classic example of that, with the Morph, that's just, they've been behind all game, and then second Roche, hi, I'm Morph, just kill it, and it's GG, just instant game turned on its head. So maybe that Roche is really what's driving a lot of these changes. I don't know.
I think that's part of it. If I just glance at 3-4 games which finished prior to 30 minutes, every one of them is a stomp. I.e., the enemy team's got barely any kills. It's like, like the EG 30 kills, 3 deaths. It still takes 30 minutes or just under 30 minutes to end. And I think you're right that part of that is, well, why not wait second rush? It's so value. But I do then think part of it is, well, you can't. Oh, I mean, obviously it's riskier to end the game sooner rather than later, but it's definitely the case that in previous metas or patches, you wouldn't have such a hard time, or it feels like you wouldn't have such a hard time to end at 25, whereas in these days it's like, there's just, I guess, there's the argument there's no risk to not ending at 25, but there is always going to be a trade-off to, shall we delay the game? But clearly teams go, it's way in our interest to go end at 30, despite the fact we've stomped this game one-sided, it still takes up to 30. So then obviously if it's less stompy, you're basically guaranteed that you can't finish until 35, 40, which is definitely very different than we've seen six months ago.
Yeah. And just to rewind the clock a ton, I actually looked at some past TI Liquipedia pages. Holy smokes, what was happening at TI4? Grand Finals, there's 2 games that are like over in like 50...
Have you not heard about the Death Ball meta?
15 minutes.
Infamous.
What?
Dark times.
It's like 16 minutes. I don't think that's possible versus bots in today's meta. How do you just end at 15 minutes?
Newbie VG.
The greatest grand final of all time.
God. The ROTK Nature's Prophet. That was a dark time. Everyone would just ball up. And,
before Glyph multi-shot and all that good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I think towers have been getting stronger these last year and stuff. There's a lot of little factors that go into it it's hard to unravel them all, but it's a somewhat even game. It just can't end before 35, it feels. So then it's like, why not draft a hero that peaks at 35? Makes sense. Yeah.
There's so many contributing factors. I also wonder if having 3 bans before, 3 second phase bans, making it 5 total before you pick your 3rd and 4th heroes. I wonder if that makes a difference. Obviously, sometimes when the meta's evolved, you're seeing, first phase carries, first phase TB. But oftentimes it's picked in that second phase, probably 75% plus of the time. Your carries picked 3rd or 4th. And so you're able to directly ban 3 heroes before you pick your carry. So just on the TB example, most teams will ban PL and Naga, and then some other hero that does well against TB, say like a Lion if it's not already picked or banned. And I guess it allows you to maybe play more for your own sort of timing and less against the enemy. So it's more easy to just pick a hero that's like very strong for the second Roche timing, or just is late game without worrying too much about being as countered as in previous metas. I don't know if that's overthinking it, because it is 1 more ban basically, because usually it's traditionally been 4 bans right before the second phase. So I do wonder about captain's mode though, because pro teams protect their picks and protect their lineups so well, and having bans is like so critically important to what they do. It's not like you can necessarily recreate it in pubs, do you know what I mean?
Was it a thing where the last phase of bans was 1 and not 2? Or am I...
Yeah.
How recent was that? Or is
Who knows? They changed the draft order and stuff every patch, and we don't pay attention to it because we don't play Captain's Mode.
For the longest time, it was 2-2-1, right?
That's
2 bans, 2 picks, 2 bans, 2 picks, 1 ban, 1 pick. Yeah.
But now it's 2-3-2.
Yeah.
Which is quite a lot more, and then those middle phases, last phases, you've got a lot more that you can remove.
I like more bans.
I like the way they've done it, because originally it was, or when they first started adding bans, it was 3-2-2, and I prefer having only 2 first phase, or else you just don't see some of the
strong heroes.
You just don't see a lot of the strong heroes ever, and I feel like you should at least see them a little bit. You should at least make teams choose their poison a certain extent.
Yeah. I
I
definitely agree. It's too stifling if you get rid of every great hero. Because then, it's less interesting to watch. Not because you want to see the OP heroes stomp. It's because we want to see the OP heroes combated and figured out and challenged, and then that creates new metas and new ideas, etc. So definitely agree with that. What I was just gonna say. Also, on the drafting ideas and whatnot, it does feel like with these number of bans, it never feels like, or very rarely feels like, you've got games where one pick is like, oh shit, GG. There's that meepo that single-handedly wins the game. If I think about examples of when has, say, a singular pick come out and gone, alright, that's just won the draft, I can't think of any apart from Naga in the grand final when they had a Veno on EG and kind of just no heroes to deal with Naga. That Naga pick came out and it felt like, okay, they actually can't win, they can't kill Naga. But out of every other game or any other highlights, it's never felt like that. It's felt like if you're going to win on draft, it's a team draft rather than like a single hero being super imbalanced strong.
I've got one. Abed Puck every time it's been picked.
Okay.
I've never seen Abed Puck. Well, it didn't lose in the entire tournament.
He's insane on Abed Puck, yeah.
Yeah, because when
there was a
T1
lot of games
were
they
playing
didn't
EG,
counter it, but even when they did, it didn't matter.
Against T1 lower bracket final, game 1, they first phase Abed Park. I'm like, okay, come on T1. Didn't we just do this last major where it took teams too long to figure out you just have to ban Puck against EG? Then the second game they do ban it, and I'm like, don't you even think about not banning Puck in this game 3? And they don't ban it, and EG first pick it. I'm like, oh, come on, lads. So, yeah.
It's interesting. LGD's first 2 bans every game against EG are Brood Puck. So
yeah, Ice Brood was very good for most of the tournament.
Brood was just the good teams that know how to play with Brood. It feels as close as we get to that gotcha pick, some of the time.
Yeah,
because
it's a first phase, so it's not how's it gotcha if they just first phase it every game?
Because there's no. It's not necessarily what the Brood does. It's just if you want to answer the Brood, it just lets the rest of the team come in so well. Like they pick if you've got Arteezy on TB, and the other team try and shut down a Brood, try and shut down an Ice Brood, it just feels like the TB just wins the game because he's been left alone enough. It's so resource intensive to try and shut down a Brood that you sort of either let the Brood do whatever it wants, in which case you're against a Brood that's 2k ahead of the game, your tier 2 and your tier 1 are gone, the Brood's got Pipe Greaves, okay, you're now against that just by default, that's very difficult. Or you try and answer the Brood and it's maybe Brood doesn't have a good game anymore, but suddenly the rest of the team, like Arbed and Arteezy, are just being left alone and having a great time. And so it feels oppressive going against Brood sometimes. And Brood's the most banned hero in this tournament. Interestingly, also, Brood's the highest win rate hero in Divine Plus in pubs as well. So of all these heroes, Brood maybe is the one that translates the best into pubs. Having said that, actually, I'm quite surprised to see that the top 3 most winningest heroes in Divine Plus are Brood, Nyx, and Winter Wyvern, which are all top tier picks at the major as well. So, unusually translatable metagame.
I just want to shout out Arteezy Nature's Prophet. That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
We can move on. Because, he didn't always have to play Naga or TV. I kind of liked it when they went to up-tempo. Him TPing over the map and stuff. Usually still with a Brood. Yeah.
Also, the grand final when, what's the offlaner called for LGD? Faith Biam. When they picked him Brewmaster in game 2, I was like, oh, this is just... Oh my god. It felt like they weren't even trying with the draft. I mean, the rest of their heroes, Ench, TB, Shaman, Death Prophet, so... they're obviously all very try-hard heroes in this kind of situation, but they picked Brewmaster like really early on, like too early to be a counter pick. You know, too early for it to be a free brew game, if you know what I mean. And I was like, they can't be winning this game, surely. And it just comes to pass. So that's quite impressive.
That brew was bottom net worth at some point.
It felt so bad.
And it's like it doesn't matter. He gets Midas. Let's drag the game to 47.
Did you go like Midas, Midas Axe Refresher or something?
Yeah.
So.
It's actually if I was in EG's shoes and it's just so demoralizing when you can't win and you're ahead and you're stronger, but you can't win and you're on a timer and it's just brutal.
That game was so sorry to talk about the game more, but that game was so impressive as well because everyone's focusing on this brew, understandably, because it's bottom net worth, offlaner, like, what is going on? LGD, after seeing them play game 1, how has this happened to them? This seems impossible. But yet they know the only thing that really matters, the only critically important thing, Brewmaster having net worth's terrible, they don't want that, but it's not critically important. What is critically important is that Arme is farming well and is top net worth or there or thereabouts, because ultimately they know that they've got a Terrorblade against Nature's Prophet Viper and a Storm, so if they can just keep TB high net worth, they're always going to be able to like have a fight if they need to, especially with Brew Split, and the Death Prophet ultimate that I can't remember the name of, Exorcism. They just pop all their spells and go in, and Arme's got enough farm to carry them, even though the rest of their team's just so far behind.
It's also, if you look at the draft, EGs, they've got so much magic damage, and then you've got the Furion trying to right click, not very powerfully. They get BKBs and +1/+2 items on the POS 1 and 2. The POS 3 is in a Brew Split ult, so doesn't care for any spells. And it's like, well, you can't kill us. No more.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
That was an impressive game.
I think obviously there's a debate, what's the advantage of coming from the upper bracket versus the lower bracket? Lower bracket gets all the games in, less rusty perhaps, I don't know, maybe figures their own strengths out more, but then upper bracket you have got more time to sit back and analyse. I do think LGD went into that grand final evidently from smashing it. I feel like they've figured EG out so hard because they've watched them storm the lower bracket, seen exactly how they've stormed the lower bracket, what playstyle they do, what heroes they want. And LGD, it feels like no one's had time to think about why they're so strong or dominant. Like EG do not have any time or brain power to figure out an LGD meta and to like kind of outclass them. And what EG brought to the table, LGD are like, okay, you're going to try and blow us up or win at 20 because you're so great at lanes or blowing up ganks. Fine, do it. But you can't finish the game and we'll go late and we'll beat you. Or I think they also just got outdrafted in, obviously, game 3. I think in game 1, that was the Axe game. So it's just like, yeah, we'll beat you in any way. Outdraft, outplay. Outdraft again.
Yeah. Did EG, when they won TI5, did they do it from the upper bracket? Or did they ever go to lower bracket?
They lower bracket.
Oh, they lower bracket, okay.
Yeah, they met CDEC in the... I think that's right, they played CDEC in the grand final and they came from the bottom.
So they lost the upper bracket 2-0 to CDEC, dropped to the lower bracket final, and then went back to the grand final and beat CDEC. So there is a difference. Yeah, do you go to the lower bracket at round 1 or to the lower bracket in the lower bracket final? So yeah, there are two big differences.
Let's look at some of these permanent records then. Are there any that you're feeling eminently confident on? I feel like I'm in the same situation as last time where there's only one that I'm confident on. I feel
very unconfident with highest kills per minute. I feel like that's a guaranteed Marco one.
Probably, yeah. What's your kills per minute, Adam, first then, I guess? Because I reckon I'm hoping I can beat Adam, but I'm not sure.
It's 0.88.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow, I've been wrecked.
0.88.
As a rookie.
Oh, wait, never mind. Sorry. Just flamed you massively.
The bait. What were you looking at? Someone else?
No, I thought Adam said 1.88.
No, not 0.88.
Oh,
okay.
Shit. Okay.
Well, I'm 1.17.
Nice. I got 1.79.
Oh my word.
So I was thinking, oh shit, Adam's ousted me, but Adam's like one less somehow.
So
what minute game?
What's your kill total?
So this is my kill record game. 53 in 29 minutes. Yeah,
see, I am also in a 29-minute game, and I have 25 kills. So, exactly half.
Mine's a 27-minute game, so they're all really close games. I've got 32. So
what hero for each of you?
Well, Ricky. I know Ricky for Marco, but I'm Pugner.
Yeah. No.
I'm playing Pugner.
That
was a Ricky. Oh, Potem. Oh, right. Okay, I'm on Pugner for this one.
And I'm on Ricky.
Oh, I see, it's Adam. So, this highest assists per minute, this might be the best game of Dota I've ever played in my life. I remember this game perfectly. It was one of the most beautiful games of Dota. It's ranked, 25-minute win in ranked, and I'm on Tusk, and I single-handedly just win the game. Like, honestly, this game was unbelievable. I'm tearing up, like, recalling it. But every single place that I went with Tusk, I got a kill, if not more. It's like everything I touched turned to gold. It's just one of those dream games. Absolutely beautiful. I don't know if the stat will be good, although I'm glad that it's enshrined here. But anyway, this is 1.23, so I'm sure you guys will be much higher than that. Given that my kill is 1.17, assists are easier to get, so I'm sure you'll be able to beat it. But that game was absolutely beautiful.
I'm only marginally above with 1.26 in a 36-minute Ogre game, getting the Ignite tags, 46 assists.
Ogre. Okay, well, I feel like both Stan and mines are more impressive then, because you have AoE. I'm with a Spirit Breaker 1.1 in a 24-minute game. 27 assists in 24 minutes with Spirit Breaker.
Nice. I'm sort of interested in this highest last hits per minute. Because I feel like this one is... We're all going to have games where we've popped off on a hero. What's your hero, Mark and Adam? Is it some anti-mage or something?
Alchemist, for me.
Medusa.
Oh, Medusa. I'm not winning this one against Alch and Medusa, but mine's 16.
Beats mine.
Beats mine.
Oh, we're flying. Let's go. Meepo, my boy.
Yeah, I have 15.54.
Oh, I'm 15.533.
And mine's a 41-minute Alchemist game, so I had 650 last hits, 1.3k GPM.
Wow.
What's your timing of the game, Stan? Because I got a 56-minute game, so that's pretty long.
I've got 28 minutes.
Dang.
So 16 CS a minute in 28 minutes is pretty high, because you're going to ramp that up, aren't you?
I don't know of any other hero that can do that, except for me.
Yeah.
Let's just check who I was against. Yep, I'm against the Broodmother, so does that count? Maybe not. Maybe it doesn't count. It's interesting, because if we just jump ahead to highest gold per minute, it's this... Oh no, it's a different game, but I haven't got a K GPM. I've never achieved 1000 GPM.
Feels, man. You gotta play more Alch.
I know.
My whole one is like all Alch games.
Have you ever got a K GPM on a non-Alch? Because it can be done. I've seen it done on Anti-Mage. But it's really difficult.
Might have, but I can't see it.
I have 1046 on Anti-Mage.
Ah, that's pretty sick. Nice.
And the saddest thing is, we lost. 69-minute game.
Oof.
That is rough.
One, you might remember, it's down your Viper, we have Dynamic Tree, and they had a Tinker and a Terrorblade that were popping off on the enemy team. We were down a lot of kills, but we kind of cling on. I don't know if you remember it. I kind of remember it.
Vaguely remember it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, go on, sorry.
It's the same for highest GPM for me as the last hit. It's the same game.
Mm-hmm.
That I guess it's 1,292.
Whoa.
I remember being sad because it rounds up on DotA buff, apparently. But in this record, it has the full thing. I think I do remember being sad about that game, because 8 GPM, and I could have had 1,300.
Well, I've got 1,200 experience per minute. 1,200. So I'm feeling mildly confident for that one. Yeah, the old Meepo when you used to get full XP from all your clones. That was a great time to be alive. So yeah.
I have 1,100. 1112.99 with a Shadow Fiend.
Oh, that's quite cool.
SF player, Pog. Wow. Very cool.
I have 1172 on a Timber Saw.
Gotta make sure this isn't a turbo game. Yep, it's a real game.
Yeah, looks like a real game.
Highest hero damage per minute. This is actually a different Pugner game to my highest kills per minute. But I'm just shy of 2,000, which I'm quite sad about. So 1,906 hero damage per minute.
What about you, Marco?
I got Zeus, 42-minute game, loss.
I thought you were about to say 4,200. Holy smokes.
2,740.
Jeez. 2,700.
A loss, oh my god.
Yeah, mine's in a loss as well. It's that Gyro game where I had 177,000 damage. So that was my total hero damage record last week. It's 2,200 damage per minute. Hour and 20-minute Gyro game. Loss.
That's crazy. And then most denies per minute, I've got 1.76. This is kind of boring.
Whoa. That's
low. That's low.
Though. Yeah.
Pitiful.
That's shameful.
Chaos Knight, this is in the early days.
2.25 with 2.25 with Monkey King.
Monkey. I got 2.63 with a Drow.
How long is your game?
23.
Okay, mine's 12 minutes.
12 minutes, oh my god.
Yeah, 28 denies in 12 minutes and 26 seconds. There must have been an abandon. Yeah, looks like the enemy Bloodseeker left the game at 12 minutes.
Oh, this game's actually the hype. 5-man ranked in 3 years ago. 2018 April. Banging exam season, just 5-man ranked. Drow Ranger win 23 minutes.
Nice.
With a Pudge Stan. What a fucking
wow, I used to get out of Pudge in the ranks.
Jesus, how could we let that be? Stan ranked Pudge.
My Pudge win rate's class. It's one of my best heroes, or at least it was. I feel like I've tried out some poor losses recently, but traditionally Pudge has been a great hero for me. Win rate wise, it's always been high. It was like 70% with lots of games playing. It's slipped now, 65%.
Still pretty good.
Dendy face, yeah, that's my Pudge. Tower damage per minute, 775.
Meepo.
Yeah.
Just all these Meepo per minute things just ruin it. I was so happy about my tower damage. I have 665 with a Clinks.
Clonks.
Yeah.
Sick.
So I have a Clinks, Wraith King, Alk, Naga, and Shadow Fiend. It stands all Meepos.
Nah, I've got 4 Meepos, so yeah, a third of them are Meepo, yeah. So
yeah.
I got a 680 morph, 27 minutes. A solid 2406 morph game with Dynamic and Adam.
Nice.
Pretty
very
taste.
Strong, very, very strong. It's speaking of hit tower damage on Meepo, someone in the chat, I think it was Socks, in the Discord, linked a 2-hour Meepo, or a 1 hour 53-minute Meepo game.
Yeah.
And I feel the pain of that because late game Meepo, you're just a creep. It is like having 5 melee creeps, so all you can do is wait for a fight to happen and then blink poof all your heroes onto like tier 3s and tier 4s and rat. That's like the only play you have. And I learned that watching pros play Meepo in the late game as well. They're just AFK, save it, have all their meepos like in woods, and then a fight happens, and they're just like, quick, rat. That's like all you have. So that can be a painful one for sure. Yeah, I believe the only stat we've got left. Oh, sorry,
I was gonna my Clinks game. I'm like, let's click on it. It's a because you said that who was it that didn't die in their tower pushing game? Was it Marco?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I was like, I look at mine. It's like I'm 6'5" and 20, so this is definitely like a rat game. You know, like I'm dying, and then I'm like, oh, who was this with? Just a Marco Ricky, 25, 0, and 15. Just classic, classic Marco Ricky. No building damage. I'm the building hitter, and then it's a 3-stack with Loot Monkey. Rest in peace, Loot Monkey.
Yeah,
he's still with us, but yeah.
Yeah, well, he's with us on Earth, but we don't know where he's ended up.
Yeah, he's left us in the digital realm. But highest hero healing per minute.
Please, I feel like I haven't been winning any. Please, I'm a support player. I should be able to heal.
I think you probably do have this one, especially with these wyverns recently. Like, holy smokes! But
yeah, looks like 4 days ago I did crack the list as it's my number 4 game. 4 days ago with wyvern.
Mine's I don't get the top. I don't get the list. So I've got 580. I don't know whether that's good or bad on IO.
IO, not bad. That's a healer. So I feel a little sad that I have 2 Lycans on my list because that's just like
Lycan.
Yeah, because they worked HAL that way for a while, and it kind of ruined it. It gave bonus HP that they counted as a healing. I think that was like the same time they didn't consider living armor from tree as healing. So it was like, why is Lycan the highest healer in every game, but then heroes with actual heals don't get any credit. But I have 814 on a Dazzle.
That's a true healer.
That's a true, yeah.
I'm actually such a fake healer, core player to the heart, because mine's Juggernaut with 550.
That's at least that's like legit healing though.
Yeah, that's the most heal I'll bring to the game.
That's when people realised Lycan was OP, when Lycan's heal stats were like off the charts compared to supports just from pressing HAL.
You'd play the game, and at the end it'd be like 10.0 pushing, 10.0 supporting, because you like healed everyone. You didn't have to buy a ward or do anything. You just got your whole like hexagon filled.
I don't know if Adam can remember this one, but my IO record is actually with me playing a support IO and Adam on a CK. A 27 kill CK and a loss. So this is probably a pretty dark one. We were let down by our Medusa. We've got a 3 kill Medusa on our team. This is a 3-stack. Me, Adam, and Gaines. So that's a rogue
27 kill Chaos Knight.
Yeah.
Dang.
Having a great time.
That's got to be up there on my kill total.
Yeah, it's a lot of kills right there.
Yeah, this my Dazzle game. It's a 48-minute game. And it's 39,800 healing, and I have Greaves and Holy Locket. But this is 2019 Holy Locket, so like probably bad Holy Locket.
Yeah.
Just like meme healing. Those were the Magic T, Viper Middle, and a Nick Day Tree. And actually, this is a 3 Dazzle game, now that I look at it.
Do we want to spend a quick 10 mins on POS 5 at the major?
Yeah, so it's like AA, right? That's the top one. It's like if it gets banned, you can have I was going to say you can have a real game, but it's like AA shuts off probably 3 or 4 different heroes or type of strategies. So if you're cool with not playing those, you leave AA in the game. Like if you have an anti-AA game, I guess, or a strat. Otherwise, you kind of like turn it, like you ban it to turn it off because it kind of wrecks a lot of heroes.
Can you sunder when you're under AA ult? Effect.
I thought that.
That's a corner case. I can't
I'm going to test
that. Might have changed. It might have changed. I think you can.
I think you can as well.
I think I saw it happen.
It's some weird. It's not heal. It's like HP swap or something. Yeah, it's something bizarre like that.
But outside of AA, well, we talked about it before. I mean, it's not just a heal turn off hero. It's like really good at vision control and magic resist reduction and stun combos, and like it got a lot going for it.
Yeah, it's so much.
I think outside of that, it's like Lion and Wyvern probably.
Yeah,
Lion's the most picked hero.
Lion was played a lot in 4 and 5 as well. It was never stuck to just one of the positions.
Yeah, I think Wyvern was a 4 and a 5 as well, but probably most.
I think
5.
More. I would say, yeah, very much 5.
Especially with the heal build, like you're not farming. A lot of those 5s would go 4-1-4. So if you have like no Splinter Blast, there's no farm potential, and you're not. That's like. Yeah, that's a very 5 thing to do.
I feel like, AA and Wyvern are the 2 premier 5s. And to me, they fall into these 2 different buckets of how the teams were playing the POS 5s. So AA obviously has got these great benefits of the vision, the lane synergy. Again, vision not just from Vortex, but from the Ice Blast. But I think the prime benefit that AA was bringing and was meant to bring, and teams were picking it for this prime reason, was the blow factor and the burst factor. So many of these games had drafts where you had a 3-person kill combo. I actually can't remember seeing Dota where there was so much burst. It was crazy. The amount of kills I feel like I watched over the last 5 days was a hero would get popped like that. I mean, it felt just like we've never seen that kind of playstyle before to that extent. Like, obviously ganking is a thing, but this was range, magic, damage, burst in less than 0.5 seconds. That's the kind of magnitude that teams were playing with. Lion fits that category, obviously, but then AA fits that category, obviously. Ice Vortex amping everyone's magic damage. Ice Vortex itself, Ice Blast itself, also massive magic damage. So I feel like that was its number one reason. And then in another camp of POS 5 philosophies, I feel like it was the Wyvern and the Ench and the defensive. I'm going to save or I'm going to heal, and I'm not here to burst and blow a hero. I'm here to be a more you could maybe say more conventional 5, more supporting, healing, saving with an ice cold embrace, or just saving with heals because we know how much healing potential could happen. So, were any other heroes? Let me have a check.
I say it's funny when you look at the top 5 picked heroes.
Phoenix, is another one to add to the
if that's
defensive.
That's a 5, yeah.
Healing. Yeah, with the Sun Ray.
And the big team fight. But then that's also like, I would be curious how many times AA was in its same game as a Phoenix. If you look at the top 5 most picked heroes, Lion, Mars, AA, Dragon Knight, Puck. AA is amazing with Mars and amazing with Dragon Knight. So that's 2 3s that you combo with. You have big Dragon Tail, makes your ult really easy, or just spear someone to a blood wall. And then Puck also makes your AA ult like easy, and you drop down your Vortex. It's pretty interesting how these, like what you said, these blow up combos, like the top 5 heroes kind of like really enable that or make it happen.
There's definitely a shift towards that playstyle. Like Kyle was talking about armor's so important earlier in the tournament, and then it was kind of figured out that this AA hero is so good at being a magic damage burst hero, and it definitely became one of the strongest strategies to have that. All my kind of anecdotes are very EG centric because that's all the games I watch, but very commonly you'd have this 3-man gank squad, literally, where the POS 4, 5, and 2, or maybe the POS 4, 5, and 3 would be smoking or roaming to catch a hero, knowing that the spells would blow it from 100 to 0, and then you'd have these other 2 self-sufficient cores like a TB with illusions or with a Sand King on another side of the map that are happily self-sufficient. And yeah, it very much felt like two very well-defined roles of the POS 5. It's either gank squadding or it's completely defensive, sat behind heroes, saving with heals or Cold Embrace or counter ultimates like an Egg or a Winter's Curse would do.
Yeah, because no heroes, I mean literally of all the heroes you just mentioned, you know, the defensive side with the Phoenix, Winter Wyvern, Ench, and then the aggressive side, AA, Nyx, Lion. They're the 6 premier supports. None of them are like this in-betweeny sort of Disruptor, Kotl, Bane, Witch Doctor, Kotl, like Lich, Ogre, like all of these heroes that are in between the two. Do you know what I mean? Like there's none of them are out there. They're all like super defined.
That's exactly what I was going to say. There's no middle ground. Like, yeah, multi-benefits. It's very hard in one corner, offensive or defensive.
Yeah, and like, just to go back, don't want to keep talking about AA, but like, he makes everything so easy. How many times you see a hero survive a gank with low HP and they get out? It's like, that doesn't happen. It can't happen. He turns off like that low percentage as long as he tags the hero with the Ice Blast through BKB as well. Just the ease of execution factor is really nice, especially when you're trying to do these ganks. And the amount of stun that, going back to Lion, Mars, and Dragon Knight, like AA doesn't have to actually be there. These teams are so coordinated, like it's cross map, like between Impale and Hex, or like Dragon Tail. You can get a cross map ulti down and pull off your kills.
Also, coming back to what we were talking about with the carry, where games feel like they're inevitably going to 35 minutes, unless there's some crazy super stomp. It means that a lot of these, you know, strong laning supports that you might have seen in previous metas where it's all about laning, I don't think they're as popular as well. Like, looking at a lot of these heroes, Lion, Winter Wyvern, Phoenix, AA, Nyx, like, none of them are considered strong laners, really. Like, certainly Lion, Nyx, Phoenix, they're not strong laners at all. AA can be a strong lane, you know, Wyvern can be alright. Ench can be alright in the right hands, Ench can be strong. But even so, like, none of them are, like, laning supports, do you know what I mean?
No, they like, scale up into the mid-game.
Teams are so good at manipulating lanes now with just positioning and pulling and dragging creeps and stuff like that, that seems to be more important than the kits. And then, you know, because of the way the metagame is, you're just, if you pick some Undying or some Bane to like properly just beef a lane out, it just feels like you're gonna suffer for it. Like late game, you're just gonna suffer for it when it matters.
It's so funny. It's like I feel like one of the things I talk about with 5-line bad, and I hate to see it in my games. And then I played it yesterday, and because it's like, oh, if Flying does it, and like all these teams value Lion, I'll just do it. It was awful. I was feeding all over the place. I died like 15 times. It's like, this hero sucks.
It's
and how do they make it look so good? And then you touch it. And same with Wyvern. Like, my deaths are huge on that hero. It really has no cast range until you get later in the game. And it's like, I'm feeding all over the place. Sure, I got good heals, but like, hard. It's really, they make it look so easy to get off the value Winter's Curses, and it's not. It's really not as easy as it looks.
EG's laning is really interesting, and it's obviously one of the strongest points. Maybe not as much in this major compared to last major, but they're known to be super strong laners. And it's always cool to see them. Like Stan mentions, the lane manipulation. They'll always put a Lion with a TB in the safe lane, even if it's crit. And I think to your point about why does Lion work, I think they only ever make it work because it's with a strong... It's kind of weird, a strong laner, and you wouldn't think TB's a strong laner, but meta TB
least put out damage.
A strong laner, all they need is 1 or 2 kills in the first 5 minutes, 6 minutes with the first couple metas, and that's fine, and then TB's going to be woods in 8 minutes anyway. So it's very particular the way they make Lion work in the lane.
Okay, here's a question.
Go on.
What hero has the highest win rate at the major over 20 games picked?
Hoodwink?
I said over 20.
Oh, it's Hoodwink not got 20.
Give us the
Only
position.
14. 28 games.
Oh, I think
I don't know.
Did you say 80% win rate?
No, I said who has the highest win rate over 20 games picked.
I think it would be TB, isn't it?
Is it? Yeah, I was going to say
20, TB is 67.8% win rate. And then if you go over 10, it's Hoodwink with 78% win rate.
There's a hero here with a higher win rate.
14 games.
Magnus has 68%.
It says 65 for me.
Oh, that's weird.
On the DotA buff Kiev Major.
Let's have a look.
It says 68 for me.
Weird.
I see 68, yeah, 25.
I see 65 in 26 matches. This is extra game. There's an extra game.
Oh, what's going on?
Hiding games.
But interesting to see Hoodwink. I know that's on a 5, but like the highest win rate hero over 10. I think it was picked 5 a little bit.
Yeah,
what a weird hero.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
what
Fly
a
was
weird hero.
It was cool to see Hoodwink. I really enjoyed watching Hoodwink, which is surprising because sometimes I don't. I'm a bit of a conservative Scrooge with Dota, and new heroes with weird kits. I'm always turn my nose up a bit, but I actually really enjoyed watching Hoodwink. I watched a game.
Batrider Hoodwink combo is very cool.
I watched a Jin-Q player perspective for one of the games on Hoodwink, which is very cool. So I thought Hoodwink was quite fun to watch. So
yeah. Crit did some good Hoodwinks as well,
and Hoodwink fits your description as well as a burst hero, as a burst 5. Like that ultimate is crazy. All you do is Acorn Shot Bushwhack, and then you don't even do a full ult. You just do like half an ult, so that at the end of Bushwhack you let it go, and it does half their HP anyway. It felt like the Hoodwink value was going up throughout the tournament as well. It felt like because LGD liked to play it and EG liked to play it, so that was getting banned quite a bit. I mean, it was picked in game 1 of the grand finals.
What's interesting about the POS 5s when you look at LGD's choice in the grand final, they don't go for this burst strategy. They go all defensive. They've got Phoenix, then they've got Ench, then they've got Wyvern, all very defensive position 5s. They don't. I mean, I didn't see that much PSG LGD, but I think they always went for this meta of we're going to play the late game, we're going to play the Chinese defensive Dota. We're actually not bothered about playing that EG tempo of many kills, fast-paced game style. We're always happy to play the defensive 5s, the healer 5s, and just go late. If you look at the drafts as well, they've got tanky heroes like the Razor as Yules, BKB, an Axe, even a Phoenix as a POS 5. The second game, you've got a Krob and a Panda, heroes that you just aren't bursting. And they know that it's so highly valued by these other teams because it has been working. Massive burst potential plus a late game carry or plus a carry to supplement it, but LGD just come along and say, we're actually just going to turtle your aggression and turtle your burst and get to a late game point that we're unkillable and we've got the better hard carry and we'll win.
It's not even just that, it's also that I feel like they play as 5 so well. I mean, obviously all the teams play as 5 well, but LGD, there were times where crits on a Lion, really wanting to blink jump someone. This is particularly apparent in game 1 where LGD just crushed, but also game 3. EG are in these 3-man death squad mode, Abed on a Lina or a TA, and there's a Tusk and a Lion. They want to get a jump. And LGD were really, really good at like baiting a hero or having a hero, but then having an Axe and a Sand King and a Phoenix just instant counter initiation, like instant jump. and it felt like it's like you said, they played well against that strategy, against the like burst strategy with keels and also with counter jump and stuff like that. Like in all these games, in game 1 and 3, where I think obviously game 2 is the special case where they really were just in turtle mode. But in game 1 and 3, they've also got like crazy good counter initiation. Game 3, Axe Call, Curse. Game 1, Axe Call, Sanking, and Hoodwink. You know, they've got so much counter initiation and they're so quick. So quick. So, that's cool to see.
Yeah, honestly, the quality of some of the games with the speed of spell usage and speed of execution, or the speed of movements around the map, or just kind of preempting where the enemy's going to go. And some of it was just so high quality to watch. Yeah. And then you get to the grand final and it was kind of the more boring of the series because it was the slowest and slower and longer and less action and excitement and just inevitable loss watching out.
I wouldn't say so. I'd say the grand final was the most exciting for me because game 2 was the most interesting game that I saw.
It was interesting as opposed to explosive and exciting. It definitely very fascinating to watch, but not as explosive. Better word.
It was cool to see EG get slapped by a POS 1 axe in game 1 as well.
The big critique I've put on game 1 is they have this POS 5 clock on fly.
Yeah.
And again, like ranged heroes, I've actually got a point about ranged supports, but as melee POS 5, it's an initiation, I guess, but then I know it can work and we've seen it work, but every game prior, you've got either a healer 5 or a nuker 5. You've never cared to have some disruptive strength POS 5. That's never been the memo for the POS 5 in EG's entire run. So it felt weird to bring it out, and then it's against an axe and a razor and a phoenix that just dived away. It felt completely useless.
I had a bigger problem with EG's game 1 draft, and that's that they've got Abed playing Lina. When they picked Abed Lina, I was like, this game's over. Don't give Abed Lina, like, for goodness sake. Like, I'd rather see him play Viper, 100%. Lina's just not the hero. No, it's just not. You hadn't seen it hardly at all, and it's like, oh, you're really putting Abed on Lina against, like, Sanking, Axe, like, all this jump. Like, in a meta about where jump and instant burst is good, Lina is not good. In all the other games all the other games EG did well, it's like he's on Park or he's on Storm or Tiny, you know.
So I actually don't know who they pick him though. I don't know who they pick him because Puck's banned, Storm's banned, Ember's banned, EG banned, Krob and Lesh.
Pick him TA or Viper or something.
True, TA was free. Yeah, it's kind of interesting that the clock and then into the Lina, it did feel awkward and weird, like heroes you've never played.
Yeah. Anyway, Major was good fun.
Major was excellent fun. The last point I've got about position 5s and ranged position 5s was the meta. I mean, I do think ranged heroes were the meta, like later into the playoffs. In terms of being able to get work done, it felt like those heroes excelled. We don't see ranged melee heroes. An interesting one on the supports though, stacking camps. We saw a lot, particularly in later, the macro game and the resource game, and even just listening to the commentary, the references to StarCraft in the latter stages of the playoffs just went through the roof. There was non-stop chat about SEVs, resources, macro. And it's true, the teams are so good that they were getting to a point where that macro aspect is so important, and really a lot of that comes down to stacking as many camps as you can. And we've seen other teams like Team Liquid have, I think, had a period, this rosy period of mass stacking camps for these kind of bristleback Kotl strats and really dominating on the back of it. And then we don't really see much focus on it, but then there was really loads of focus on it in this latter stages. Ranged heroes stack camps infinitely better than melee. If you want a duo stack, let's say an ancient and a hard camp, if you're a melee hero, you can right click one of them and run away, and then maybe you might have a spell that you can use kind of like a third of your mana to throw out and stack the second one. Whereas if you're a ranged hero, it's so easier to get that double stack off and then be at, say, the 4-minute or 6-minute or 8-minute rune after doing so, because you would stack the ancient triangle and then just go to the river on your way. And it was such an efficient way of stacking that teams were doing lots. And honestly, so helpful to be ranged to do that. It's such a minor point, but when I heard someone mention it, I was like, wow, that is actually so high value, purely by having ranged attack on your support that you're able to efficiently stack and then move into the river and be ready to be active and involved in a way that a melee hero couldn't do as good.
Yeah, the Wyvern Q, man. I played, doing that yesterday, stacking. Felt amazing.
God, you probably get 3 with that.
Dire Triangle, you just, like, stack Ancient and Hard Camp. You don't even move because, like, you have so much extra range.
Yeah.
You just, like, doing that with a TA on your team, so much gold for you and her. That was, like, the preeminent Ancient taker. At least early in the tournament, TA. It's like, wowie zowie, that is... Psyblades, what a spell. Dragonlance, what an item.
Well, that was the major. That was episode 145 of New Meta Podcast. Join us again next week where we'll have back to some more normal scheduling, I suppose. Less pro-game chat and more pub chat, more normal stuff. Until then, have a final whistle. See you again then.